We are now on Unit 2.3. There's other videos of me going over the other material. We're on 2.3, Exchange in the Indian Ocean. First things first, Indian Ocean slave trade. So there is a slave trade in the Indian Ocean. This is in East Africa, and most of these slaves are going to India. And there's two types of jobs that these enslaved Africans are doing. They're going to be soldiers, but these enslaved Africans are also going to be, unfortunately, concubines as well. And so there's actually either different estimates, the same amount or even more enslaved Africans go into slavery to the Middle East and India compared to transatlantic slavery, which is what most people think about. There is number 60, something that is environmental knowledge of the Indian Ocean that makes trade and travel in the Indian Ocean Trade Network possible, and that's knowledge of monsoon winds, these oscillating patterns of winds that go in a very predictable, safe way, getting me from India to Africa and then Africa back to India. There's also technology that makes its way, that helps trade and travel to be successful. There's amazing ships like junks, there are dhows, there's the lateen sail, there is the compass, there is the astrolabe, there's more than 5, but these are all things that make trade and travel possible in the Indian Ocean Trade Network. Also, we see a lot of diasporic communities. Remember, the word diaspora means the dispersal. There are, in the Indian Ocean, there are Arabs, there are Persians, there are Chinese, and there are even Jews that are living all throughout the Indian Ocean. Arabs in Africa, Persians in Africa, Chinese in Indonesia, Jews in India. There are various groups of people that, because of trade, have moved to these different parts of the world. And as some of these Arabs and Persians move to East Africa, there's a huge Muslim influence in East Africa, so much so that we call the East Coast of Africa the Swahili cities, the Swahili states. Because they speak mainly Swahili there. And of course, number 64, Zheng He, he was a Chinese explorer. Thing about him is he is a actually Chinese Muslim explorer, and he doesn't go to conquer, he doesn't go to explore. They actually know those places. He is not interested in creating an empire. He is going to actually to impress, because you might remember that they have, the Chinese have just kicked out the Mongols, and so they want to reestablish their reputation. You know, that was embarrassing, that people group that you said were like trash took you over, and so they want to reestablish their reputation. So they send Zheng He out. Remember, he has these massive treasure ships that were like way bigger than Chris Columbus's, bigger than European ships, and so they were quite impressive, these treasure ships. And he did more sailing, bigger ships than Chris Columbus did. There's various animals used to help the trans-Saharan trade. For example, the camel. The thing about a camel is camels have humps in the middle, and so there's a piece of technology that people come up with to help us use them called the camel saddle. There's different types of camel saddles, our textbook said. There's a West African kingdom. We've talked about this before. You should know about Mali. The most important city in Mali was Timbuktu, and it became a center of Islamic learning. So they built schools. People came from all around the world to learn all about Islam there. Again, this has been mentioned in another unit. Sundiata was the Lion King. He started Mali, and more famous, and his story was told by not written historians, but by oral storytellers, because there was no written records for Sundiata. Mansa Musa was the richest man. he went on Hajj. Hajj is when you go to Mecca. He made Mali a center of Islamic learning. Cultural consequences of connectivity. Zen Buddhism. This is an example of syncretism. This is a blending of Buddhism and Taoism. Buddhism, Neo-Confucianism spread in East Asia. It went to places like Korea, both of these religions, and Japan. And in general, Buddhism was popular among regular people, ordinary people, and Confucianism, because like the most important thing about Confucianism is you have to be able to memorize the Confucian classics. So think about Confucianism as a group of people that are most interested in Confucianism are the upper class. Southeast Asia, Srivijaya, we talked about this already, two types of Indian religions, but mainly they were Hindu, even though they were like 1,000 miles from India. This shows you how religion spreads along the trade routes. There's another country called the Khmer, which is modern-day Cambodia, sometimes called Angkor. It was these two religions. Again, we already talked about this. They were Hindu and they were Buddhist. They were cool with both. Decline of cities. There's a city called Constantinople. This was the capital of the Byzantine Empire. Bummer for them, though, is they get attacked, and not just attacked, they get conquered by the Turks. And the Byzantine Empire goes away, it falls, and the city of Constantinople becomes Istanbul in 1453. There's a famous church there called Hagia Sophia. It's one of the largest churches in the world. And when Muslims take over the city of Constantinople, that largest church in the world of Hagia Sophia becomes a mosque. Crusades, it was a military failure because they freed the Holy Land for 60 seconds, but it exposed Europeans to Asian products. They wanted more of that. There's a European traveler who his point of view and his impact. The European traveler is Marco Polo. He's from Italy. He goes all the way to China. He actually works for Khan. And he was a merchant. So he noticed business. And he inspired future travel. We also have an Islamic traveler. This guy's name is super important. You should know him by name. His name is Ibn Battuta. He's from North Africa. And his main point of view was he was Muslim. And so he observed Dar al-Islam. And so he went to Mali, he went to India, he went to China. And the most important thing is he noticed how Islam is different everywhere it goes. Number 78, migration of two crops, two examples. You should be able to look up the two examples of crops from 2.6, where they're from, where they went. There's something that led to declining agricultural production. This was called the Little Ice Age. This is why the Vikings left Canada, why the Vikings left Greenland. It was green before the Little Ice Age. After that, it was too cold for them. And also, disease spread along the caravanserai. These were trade/rest cities where merchants gathered. Please move from people's horses to lead to that spread of the plague. There's a chart on 81. Make sure you know it. I'm not going to go over 3.3. Those are just things that we've most recently done. I think you should probably be good on that. And I think that gets us everything that we need with all the videos included. So good luck. Thank you all very much.